One very, very important thing for a restaurant brand is culture.
Where did the entire idea really start?
Raghav and me known each other since we were in kindergarten. He also had a desire to make the world know about his grandfather's legacy and how he invented the most popular dishes of the world, butter chicken and dal makhani.
So true. What was that Shark Tank experience like, and what changed after?
So Shark Tank was a great experience. It was aired, by the way, on primetime Sony.
Correct.
10 p.m. on a Friday night. And we had a spot of 22 minutes. So imagine 22 minutes on prime time, it's priceless publicity.
What's your advice to people, who are looking to come into the food space? What are things that they should watch out for, pitfalls, etc.?
I would actually not encourage everyone to think about this because there's a high failure rate.
Your daily mantra as a business owner?
So my daily mantra is get up, dress up, show up. That's it.
What's the future looking like? What's the next, few months, slash few quarters looking like for you guys now?
We'll be looking at expansion, but controlled expansion.
So welcome back to Let's Chat with GB. You could be a fan of butter chicken, dal makhani, or both. If restaurants is your passion, if Indian food is your thing, this is an episode for you because I have today with me an amazing restaurateur, one of the city, if not the country's best. And I have with me an old and dear friend and someone who has crushed it in the space. Amit, welcome to Let's Chat with GB.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And first up, congratulations. I know you're on the cusp of a big milestone. So for a restaurant to go, or a restaurant chain to go up to 100 crore mark, congratulations. I think that's a super number.
Thank you very much. From the first year to now, it's 10x. With following your 10x direction we got.
Yeah, I remember that. And at the time when we first caught up, it was during the pandemic. A difficult time?
Actually, if you look at it, from the pre-pandemic time to now, it's actually 10x. So so I think I learned your 10x lessons very well.
Love that. And of course, internationally, really cool things happening. Bangkok, how's that been going for you guys?
Well, it's an amazing feeling to have launched a successful Indian restaurant in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Before I was launching it, I was a little skeptical how people are going to respond to our brand and how they're going to respond to authentic North Indian cuisine.
Right.
Because they've never experienced this kind of cuisine.
Yeah.
What they've seen is a different version of Indian cuisine.
Right.
But it was a pleasant surprise for them. And I very proudly say that 60% of our customers right now, or 60% of our guests right now, are actually local Thai.
Fantastic.
And that makes me very happy. And we were launched by the ambassador of India to Thailand, and he was very proud of us. He said, "I'm so happy that you're coming and opening an Indian restaurant here and taking North Indian cuisine all over the world."
Love it.
And he said, in fact, he said that the biggest, what he said that the soft power, the ambassador said that the soft power any country can have, apart from dance, entertainment, is cuisine. So you can really make your country popular by your cuisine. Like a lot of people in the world would know, maybe some people actually, the percentage don't know much about India, but they know butter chicken.
Right.
So that's something which
I love that. And so true. And I saw, all the promotions and the posts that were happening around that. And it really felt so proud, to have an Indian chain go down there, make that mark. And I'm sure in due course, you've got other cities planned in other locations. I'm sure UAE is on the cards as well.
Yes, exactly. That's our next target. And hopefully we can open all over the world, be the go-to North Indian brand in the world.
100%. Now, guys, to give this context, they already have 13 restaurants in the country. The 14th one's coming up in Mohali. There is already Thailand, and there will be many more as well. This episode is going to be a lot about the economics of, having a restaurant or running a restaurant. I think they have a lot of diversity when it comes to, the kind of outlets they run. They're in standalones, they're at malls. So I think it's going to be really interesting for a lot of our viewers and listeners to actually hear about the dynamics, the challenges, the opportunities, and what really lies ahead as well. So if you were to talk about where did the Daryaganj idea really start, all right? And I know Raghav and you go way back, and where did the entire idea really start? So just to give context to some of our newer viewers and listeners as well.
Yes, so Raghav and me known each other since we were in kindergarten. In fact, your brother was also in our same school. Yep. We were in the same class. Yep. And so, we were childhood friends, and we both were big foodies always.
Right.
And one day we were talking about, one day we were just catching up about 7 years back. And we were talking about our ideas. So my idea was I wanted to open a North Indian cuisine restaurant.
Right.
So he also had a desire to make the world know about his grandfather's legacy and how he invented the most popular dishes of the world, butter chicken and dal makhani.
So true.
And we were like, okay, let's get together and start a brand where we can, make the world experience the best of North Indian cuisine, served in the purest form. And that's how the idea started. And we decided to launch the brand, and we decided to call it Daryaganj because that is where butter chicken and dal makhani were invented, and that's where Raghav's grandfather, his late Mr. Kundala Jaggi, he launched his first restaurant, and where he invented butter chicken and dal makhani.
Yep. And I believe that's quite a story as well in terms of how butter chicken was invented. There was a lot of people coming in post-partition India. And do you want to walk guys through a little bit of that as well?
So, look at it this way. So, before 1947 in Delhi, there was hardly any population who used to have non-vegetarian food.
Correct.
But there was a huge amount of Hindus, Punjabi Hindus who were in Peshawar and the Punjab of the other side of the Punjab. And they were all meat eaters, The culture was like that. They had a lot of influence from Afghan and other countries, Afghanistan and other countries around. So, Mr. Jaggi, who, Raghav's grandfather, was a refugee when he came to Delhi. And he struck with a great idea that, all these people who have actually, there was, I think, almost what I've heard the numbers were about almost half a million people who had migrated to Delhi from the other side of Punjab. So that was a huge amount of people coming into Delhi who wanted to have their, they wanted to have their staple food, which was more of tandoori chicken, actually. And that was very popular. Cooking the meats in tandoor was very popular at that time. So he was a very enterprising entrepreneur. He decided to do what the market wanted, and he set up a small shop and started serving tandoori chicken with his. And he set it up with two other friends, and they became very popular. And one fine day, they got a guest who really made them very, very popular, which was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The India's first Prime Minister came in his car, sat down somewhere and had a tandoori chicken and loved it.
Amazing.
And then he actually used to call them for state banquets. And they used to serve the same tandoori chicken and other dishes to the world leaders. Imagine, like I've heard about, the president of the USSR that time. And even, Jacqueline Kennedy and many top, top dignitaries who used to be his guests used to try this food.
And they would send a plane and fly him across and all of that as well.
Exactly.
About that.
So the reason why these dishes became popular were these dignitaries going back to their own countries and taking back the stories of these dishes. And that's how the destiny changed for them. Then these dishes became world famous.
And now coming down Daryaganj, like the relaunch, and now we're talking about restaurant 001, right? So walk us through a little bit of the pre-ideation stage. Like if anyone walks into your outlets, you have a lot of distinctive stuff, right? In terms of the scents, in terms of, what we see on the walls, the wallpaper, the pictures. Where did some of this ideation actually happen?
Before we started Daryaganj, which was about 2019 is when we launched the first restaurant. We started working on it 2 years before that. So when I was working on it, I had actually come out of a failure. I had failed in a few restaurants, and I was like, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. I'm going to make sure everything is very much taken care of. I don't make any mistakes again. I didn't have room for much mistakes that time. So I, I looked back and understood a few things which I decided I will not do. One was I didn't want to do too big a restaurant, so I decided to do a small, medium-sized restaurant, 50 to 60, 70 seater, not like a 100, 200 seater or maybe like a 20 seater, like about 60, 70 seater. Then I wanted to make I'm going to make a restaurant just focus on family dining because that's a more loyal, it's a more loyal segment.
So true.
Then there was a thought that, there is a North Indian cuisine segment which is very, very expensive. And the 5 stars, maybe the premium restaurant serving, maybe say 1,400 per person. And then there was one which was more like dhabas or roadside ones, 500, 600 rupees a person. There was a sweet spot in the middle, 900, 1,000.
That's where you guys started.
And we found that sweet spot. And the fourth learning for me was that I have to make sure that I really check on the property and because I made some mistakes on taking properties, and there were some regulations which changed, licenses which changed. So I wanted to be very sure about that, the due diligence there. And the fifth, which is the most important, was how do I decode a great experience in a restaurant, and how do I backward plan the great experience in a restaurant? So while I was doing that, it struck me that when we think from a customer's perspective, customer when he walks into your restaurant, whatever he experiences is through his 5 senses. So let's break it down. So first thing when he enters, what he sees. So if you see the interiors, the way they've been made,
Right.
it's very approachable.
Yep.
I purposely decided not to make it too, maybe not make it too intimidating.
Correct.
Make it very, very warm and very inviting. Also showing our story, which is a mix of brick walls and like old retro elements plus some bit of contemporary elements as well.
Sure.
And the second, when you enter the restaurant, immediately you get a whiff of the signature fragrance.
What is the fragrance? Because it's very distinctive, and I think it's
So-
I only smell it when I come to Daryaganj outlet.
So I wanted to create this is what we call a scent branding. There's a company called Arome. They worked on this with me. So we actually went through hundreds of iterations to finalize this fragrance. So it was a fragrance which my brief to them was, I want a feel-good fragrance, something which kind of blends Indian and modern notes. So we actually found an Indian flower note,
Right.
and then we found a contemporary note, mixed it together, and created this blend,
Very
which is the
distinctive.
Daryaganj signature fragrance.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every Daryaganj restaurant you go to, you will get the same fragrance.
And not only that, but even during the pandemic, when you started your boxes and that
Yes.
experience box was going out, and even there you
Yes,
were actually
exactly.
incorporating
Did
this
that,
as well.
that.
Right?
We implemented it there as well. And so that was the sense of smell.
Yep.
The next was when you sit down on the table,
Yep.
everything you touch, from the tabletops to the crockery, the cutlery, and
Right.
also the way the servers treat you, they speak to you is also touch. So that's the third touch. And then fourth was music. I mean, your sense of hearing.
Right.
So I really handpicked every single track, where all the tracks were unplugged renditions
Right.
of old retro songs.
Oh, lovely.
So I didn't want to play the straight songs because
Right.
then it would have been a little boring for the younger generation.
Correct,
So like younger artists singing the older tracks. So it became approachable for all.
Nice.
And then the most important, the fifth, the taste, sense of taste. So the food was very carefully thought of. We uncomplicated recipes. We made them simple. We made sure we used the purest of ingredients, and that is what makes a lot of difference.
Right.
So we avoided a lot of packaged ingredients.
Right.
And all of this is what makes our brand successful, because what we also focus on the sense of taste is that what you eat and what you feel at that time is one experience, and what you feel 2 hours later is an experience.
Agreed.
And the best feedback we get from all our guests is a common feedback that after having your food 2 hours later, we didn't feel heavy, and that's what brings them back faster and faster.
And I think that's another reason when you mentioned the Thai audience,
Yeah.
I think the reason why a lot of them are coming back again and recommending it to people is just that reason.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, we have not made it extra spicy as well. We're not complicated it with too many spices.
Correct. And between the last 6 years, has the menu changed much, or have there been minimal changes in the offering?
So we started off with about 65 dishes. Over a period of time, actually, I've cut down dishes because the lesser the number of dishes on your menu, it's easier to have standardized them, easier to maintain consistency.
Right.
So the best of restaurants in the world, they have maybe just 4, 5, 7 items, the QSRs.
Right,
But
right.
we're not a QSR. We're like a dine-in restaurant.
Correct.
So even if you can maintain 35, 40 dishes,
Yeah.
that's good.
A good lesson if you're listening in, where the fact is that they've actually scaled down the number of dishes, and less is actually more, and it leads to better consistency in terms of quality, experience, and managing economics as well. Coming to the economic space of things, right? Typically, what kind of break even were you seeing, and eventually did get to when it came to a restaurant which had that 50 to 60 seater sweet spot in terms of covers?
So when you're starting your first restaurant, you can make any estimates. The results are sometimes, very different from what you estimate, because,
Right.
once you begin a second restaurant, you're very accurate then.
Correct.
When I was making my second restaurant, since in fact, all these restaurants I've made in the last few years, starting from the 2nd to the 13th,
Right.
my prediction on the revenue has been bang on.
Awesome.
That I knew that, okay, this will do this much revenue by this time. It could have been 10% up or down.
Right.
But the first one is is something very tough to guess.
Of course.
In fact, I underestimated ourselves. I said, okay, maybe I will do X revenue when I start the restaurant, and
Right.
maybe in 6 months it will get profitable.
Right.
But to my to my surprise, the first month itself we were profitable, and we did 3x of what we had expected in the
Amazing.
first month. But that was how we started off, and I could see that the people have really liked the brand very well. We were a runaway success, and it's picking up immediately. And I must tell you an interesting story that there used to be about 50, 60 people waiting outside a restaurant every day
Right.
for a table.
Right.
And it was like queues. We used to serve them nimbu pani and tea when they were waiting. So I was also standing outside. So one group of people came to me and said, Mr. Bagga, are you the owner of the restaurant? I said, yes. He said, why don't you open more restaurants? You can very well see that your demand and supply is not matching. Please open more restaurants.
Correct.
And that's why the thought came, yes, maybe they're right. Because every day there are people standing outside and waiting for a table.
Correct.
And if I don't open now, I will lose this, what do you say, this positive
momentum.
Yeah, the momentum.
Right.
That's when we went and signed 4 more restaurants.
Awesome.
And then we started opening one by one.
Right.
We had a bit of a bottleneck during the COVID times, but we recovered fast. But that's what it was. That it all should come from your customer. That if he says you need to open more restaurants, then you should open more restaurants.
But amazing. I mean, to have that kind of response. And I remember coming in the early days, and and Dad and Mrinalini and I remember coming in, and yeah, you're right. The queues were epic, and there was always a fantastic wait, and which is great to see. Now, during the pandemic, it couldn't have been easy, right? Because you already had, how many outlets were functional coming into the pandemic?
So we had about 3 functional, and 2 more were about to open.
Wow.
And that's when pandemic happened. And this was actually before our first anniversary, 11th month of our operations.
Wow. But amazing to see like the bounce back, and how strong the bounce back has been. I think that's
you were one of the reasons why we bounced back so well. In that time, during that COVID time, I remember doing that session with you, scaling with GB session, which you had done, and it was great. It was quite a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah, and I do remember, we in 2021, we came out with the 21 strong, which is 21 of the best, and then you were on that list. And it was only because of, I think, even the conviction that you had and the work that you put in. A lot of people did that program, right? But there are very few who actually went out there and crushed it. So
thanks to you. And one thing I would like to say is that sometimes we all take everything for granted. That maybe this is something we know, it's something everyone will know. But some basics which you came and taught us really changed a lot of things in my life. Like I remember, when you gave us a lesson on whenever you're doing a business or a startup, you should look at 3 statements, which gives you a complete idea of your business, which was P&L, your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your cash flow. If you look at these 3, you will know everything about where your business is going in terms of finance. And that really helped me, by the way. Because I was not very clear on I knew these here and there, but I never knew which are the top 3 to look at. I was looking at 10 different things. So that was really helped me. And another thing I remember was with the vision board you made us make. I'm very happy to say that at least that whatever I think was impossible, I put down that vision board, and half of them have actually come true by now.
That's amazing, and I hear that from so many people. And I think Amit was one person at the time who said that he wanted to win restaurant of the year and restaurant of the year, and that's been happening for you consistently, right?
Yeah, it was that time it was like a very distant dream. That's why I thought, maybe someday I can win that. And happily, I'm very happy to say that now almost won more than 6-7 of these. And the biggest one was the Economic Times Restaurant Icon of the Year. And I could not actually believe it I won. When the first time I got a call that you're winning this, I'm like, really? I was like, are you sure? I never expected it.
Love it. Again, just about vision, belief, conviction, and action. I think that's very, very important. What would your advice be to, young restaurateurs, people who want to come into the business? Well, it looks very glamorous from the outside, right? But when they kind of come in, there are, host of challenges. So what's your advice to people, who are looking to come into the food space? What are things that they should watch out for, pitfalls, etc.?
I would actually not encourage everyone to think about this because there's a high failure rate. It's like a norm that 60 to 70% of restaurants shut down within the first 2 years. And there's a reason why. A lot of people think that, it's very easy, number one. There's no entry barrier. Okay, let's just get some capital together. Let's hire some chefs. Let's hire an interior designer. We'll manage, But that's not how it works. It's like a science, a lot you have to get into. And so what I feel is that a lot of people also don't plan for the first 6 months to 1 year because every restaurant doesn't pick up from the first day. So you have to keep enough capital for the 6 months, 1 year in the worst case scenario. So we were lucky that we picked up in the first month, but everyone doesn't. Everyone doesn't pick up in the first month. So that's one. And I feel if you ever want to get into the restaurant industry, so it should only be when you have a very strong passion for it. There's a saying by Steve Jobs that if you have the passion for it, you will have the perseverance to see it through.
So true.
And if you don't, you will never see it through. And in this industry, there'll be so many ups and downs. So if you're going there, if you want to start a restaurant because you think, I want to make a lot of money, or I'm a great chef, I'm a great cook, don't even think. You need to have a crazy passion for it. You have to be crazy to be a restaurateur. I'm honestly saying that.
No, it's super competitive, and and the
Yeah.
thing is, I mean, you guys are operating, primarily in the NCR, where rentals have just exploded.
Yeah.
Retention of staff is, another cup of tea altogether.
It's a very high pressure business. We have to
Yeah.
work, the late hours. We have to work even on special occasions.
Right.
And the whole industry. I mean, the whole world, even the government thinks we make like so much money.
Correct.
We work on very thin margins.
So true.
And that's dependent every day on. We have very high fixed expenses like salaries, rentals.
Correct.
So it's not easy. So even to recover the salary rental, you have to reach to a certain level, and above that is when we make a profit. So it's not easy at all.
And most of the restaurants that you currently own, in fact, in the country, I believe they're all owned and operated. They're not franchisee outlets, right?
So one lesson which I learned from over the years that if you franchise your brand, you'll never have a long-term success.
Right.
Because at least for a segment like ours, if it was a McDonald's or it's like a quick service restaurant segment where everything is coming from a back end,
Correct.
and there's a very less room for error.
Yeah.
Even an unskilled guy can just put things together and serve it.
Right.
So for us, we need very, very, very well trained chefs.
Yep.
We need some well trained servers, and and the attrition rate is about 60-70% for us at least.
Wow.
So imagine we have to keep churning around, and we have to keep training many people to come back and replace the others. So it's not because of internal reasons. It's because everyone in the lower level of the restaurant industry, even if they get 1,000 rupees extra, they just go.
Move. Yeah.
And so it's like that. So we have a lot of challenges in terms of real estate, in terms of regulations, government regulations, then finding staff, manpower. So a lot of issues. So like I said, but if you have the crazy passion to do it, you'll find a way.
But I think there's two key things that you mentioned. That one, you have to be a little crazy. That passion, that why, the conviction is very important.
Yeah.
If you just think it's for the glamour quotient, or if you think it's for the money, it's probably going to come. But it's going to come a lot later.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears running into that, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I started off, I never even went for it. I said, I'm just going to go and give my best effort.
Correct.
I'll leave the rest, to the customers to decide.
Yeah.
And then all this followed, the glamour, in fact, the first day when I was starting the restaurant, I told my PR agency, I don't want to be the face. He said, there's no other way. You have to be the face. So they said that you can't have a restaurant brand without having an official face.
Right.
So I somehow agreed to it, and then people might think that I really, do this for glamour, but I don't. Just that, I have to be relevant for my brand. I have to speak for my brand. That's what I do it for.
Right.
But not to get.
And I think it's so true because even if I look at large or very successful global restaurants, there is always a big name or a face behind that as well. I mean, even in Delhi, if you look at AD and the restaurants that he runs, right, it's important to have someone like that. And it's
You kind of have to personify your brand through some face. And in fact, if you see the restaurant, if you see all the successful restaurant brands, at some point they have been driven by one restaurateur who puts in all his heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And for me also, I could say that the restaurant brand which you see here is come out of a lot of my personal likes and dislikes.
Right.
Like I would say, okay, I would like to have this kind of a taste. I would like to have this kind of lighting. All of these of my it's like an extension of my personality in a way.
And the thing with, obviously restaurants in, again, Delhi, NCR, and even otherwise, when you open up, you have no liquor license, right? The liquor licenses only come after a particular
So I'm the co-chapter head of the Delhi Restaurant Association, which is the NRAI.
Right.
And so I keep lobbying for the ease of business with our NRAI team, and we recently got some good, breakthroughs. So like the police license now has been removed, and the Delhi CM is very, very, proactive, and she really wants the whole city to have a better infrastructure. Startups are encouraged.
Yep.
So that's great. Great steps are happening towards it, but a lot of challenges.
And typically, when does a restaurant get a liquor license? Because I've always wondered, like, how long is it?
So basically, the rule says that you first make a running set restaurant, make it operational, apply for a liquor license, then it comes within a month or so.
Okay.
So for the first month, you have to wait.
Right.
So till the license comes, but sometimes delays happen for reasons which are not in your control.
Sure.
So it is always a little risk.
And of course, once the liquor license comes in, then the economics change completely, right?
Not really. I would say for Daryaganj, in fact, what I purposely do is maybe sometimes I let it be without liquor for the first few months.
Okay.
Let the food be the main hero.
Nice.
And we in fact running 2 restaurants which are actually without liquor. They do great revenues. So one more learning from my 15 years of being in the restaurant industry is that if you focus on any brand which has maybe say 60-70% of liquor sales, you will not last more than 4-5 years. if it's the other way around, your food is 70 to 80% of your sales.
Nice.
You will last for a longer time. Because see, the food the segment which is for the food, which is like families and are much more loyal. You know, they're much more loyal to your food.
Right.
The segment which is more towards liquor is not loyal.
Yeah. Interesting. And so I'm sure that, you know, food is obviously making up a far larger component than the alcohol is for you guys.
For us, it's almost 80%.
Fantastic. Again, a testament to, you know, what you guys are creating and serving. So obviously, even in terms of the locations that you have across the city, some would have a more corporate audience, vis-a-vis, you know, like right now we're in Civil Lines. In fact, my grandmom used to live just down the road from here. I'm sure here there's a lot of like more family-ish, and in Aerocity and Connaught Place, etc. Those areas would be slightly more corporate. Do you see that as well?
We get a lot of advantage in locations where there are residential and corporate hubs as well. Like Aerocity doesn't have residential around, but then people it's like a central location, so a lot of people from different residential areas come and dine with us there. And having corporates is a very big advantage. Why? Because it fills up your lunchtime. And dinner time is obviously for families.
Correct.
And weekends is more towards families, and weekdays is more towards corporates. So it really gives a very good, healthy balance to your business.
Right.
So it's good to be around corporate areas.
Interesting. So when you come into a new city, a city that you've never been in, so now we know Mohali is Ludhiana's already there, Chandigarh/Mohali is now coming up. What are some of the top things that you look out for as a restaurateur before you choose that, okay, this is the place where we're going to be?
So we have experimented with Punjab opening Ludhiana and opening Mohali also very soon.
Right.
But one learning which has come to me over these years is that India has some amazing locations and markets for restaurants in the 3 metros. I mean the 3 top markets, which is Delhi NCR, Bombay and the region around it, and Bangalore.
Right.
And you will be surprised to know that these 3 regions together control 50% of India's organized market.
Really?
So we have realized that let's first capture these 3, then get into the other tier 1, 2, tier 3 cities.
Correct.
So that is a bit of a change in strategy we have done, where we're now going to focus on these and maybe even international. First, let's go and tap the best of locations, the best of the cities, and then slowly move down to tier 2, tier 3 with our learnings from those.
And speaking of, when you were in the stage of expansion, you, of course, Raghav and yourself, you were on Shark Tank as well. What was that Shark Tank experience like, and what changed after?
So Shark Tank was a great experience. I never actually, thought we will end up being there. It was a random decision to apply for it. But there's a saying which I really, relate to. To win a lottery, you have to buy a ticket.
Right.
So a lot of people think, I will never make it to this show, so they never apply.
Right.
But I actually just randomly applied for it, and I actually, ended up being on the show.
And it's not easy, right? Because the number of rounds and everything
So it started off with the first round. When I applied for it, I got an email, the second email back that you're the second round. Please send us answers to these questions. So I answered them and sent back, and I forgot about it. Then I got another email, which was you're in the third round.
Right.
Now you need to record a video. You and your co-founder have to record a video and send us. So we did that. So I told Raghav, let's record a video. I said, why you think we're going to make it? I said, let's just try. There's no harm in trying. So we made a video, and I put it together with my video, and we sent it to them. So got another mail in a few weeks that you're in the 4th round. Now you have to come to Bombay to audition. So Raghav was in New York, he couldn't go there. So I went there with my chef. We did an audition. And even then, I was like, there's so many top startups and these guys have such great ideas. I don't think I stand a chance, I thought. But anyways, I did again. But when I always feel when I'm doing something, I gave it my best and I leave the result. I don't think about the result. Then I got a call suddenly after a few weeks that we have chosen you to be on the final show. Like, that was surprising, it was like never expected it.
Right.
So then I called Raghav that you have to come to Bombay, and they called us just a week before that you have to come now. They don't give much time. So I told Raghav, you take a flight and come, and let's go to Bombay and shoot. And we were shooting at Yashrat Studios, and it was a great experience. Everything was impromptu, nothing was scripted. Wow. So good experience. Now, once we came out of it, we forgot about it because it was September of about 3 years back.
Right.
And then it was aired in February, so 5-6 months later.
Right.
So after the airing happened, so it was aired, by the way, on primetime Sony.
Correct.
10 p.m. on a Friday night. And we had a spot of 22 minutes. So imagine 22 minutes on prime time. If you look at it, it's like a priceless, it's priceless publicity.
Right.
So after the moment the show ended, I started getting constant calls, emails. It was crazy. I could not handle it. And people are calling from all over the world. And next day there were all our restaurants were, people were queuing outside the restaurants.
Fantastic.
Our sales went up. Went up by 50%.
Wow.
If I didn't have many restaurants, I only had 5 restaurants that time.
Right.
So if I had more, my sales would have been much higher.
Yeah.
So my sales went up 50%.
Wow.
But the best thing was, after 3, 4, 5 months, we still were, like, if you were 100 before Shark Tank and we got to 150 in the first month, we are still at 125. Same business.
Right.
So we retained customers as well. So I feel one more thing that you can tell any story, you will only get to your customer first time.
Yeah.
Second time is only when you have a great product.
And the experience that they have and the entire...
and the product is the whole experience.
Correct.
So that really helped. I mean, I recently saw that we had almost about 1.2 crore views, about 12 million views on the YouTube channels of Shark Tank. Plus, what I got to know was that the TRPs of that time when our show was aired was about another 7 million or so.
Right.
And then apart from this, the OTT is continuous adding views because it's like there forever. So that also another maybe a 7-8 million. So put together, it's like, it's crazy. It was like maybe 2.5, 2.7, so 25 or 27 million views.
Fantastic.
Even if I say it's like it's like 15 million maybe unique visitors.
Correct.
That's 1% of India's population. And maybe could be like about 7-8% of the population which goes out to dine.
And I think the deal that you got at the time was the best deal that anyone had got on Shark Tank till that point, right? It was perhaps it was supposed to be like one of the highest valuations till that point of time.
Not really. Actually, I mean, the valuation we asked for, we didn't get that.
Right.
Because we actually, the reason why we said yes to it, because we really wanted Aman Gupta to come on board.
Correct.
And when he went there, we realized he's a fan. And I didn't know that he had actually been to a restaurant before. We end up there and he's saying, I've been to a restaurant, love your food.
Yep.
And it'll be great to have him on board. So we actually halved our valuation for him. But it was a very small percentage of equity, so it didn't matter. 1% equity.
Correct.
So we give it to him.
Nice.
And so that was... I think it was worth it going to Shark Tank.
Yeah, love it. And I'm sure after that you had a lot of interest in investors, in franchisees. Not that you were looking at that option at the time, but you had a lot of requests coming in.
Almost 375 queries, I remember. I mean, I'm looking at our recent records, but up to 375 queries.
Yeah.
And the going rate for a franchise, if you sell today, maybe could be like, about 60, 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs for one franchise.
Right.
So if you calculate that, I said no to hundreds of crores. Yeah. But that didn't matter.
That was your decision. That was
very,
your
very clear,
strategy.
because we are not here to just, for the short term. We're here for the long term.
Right.
I could have made a lot of money out of it. But that wouldn't have been the right thing, because then, the brand, the brand's authenticity would have been lost. The brand's soul would have been lost, because we cannot imagine 100 people running in the same way, the way I want to. Maybe out of the 110 are doing very good, 10 might not be doing good at all. I just didn't want the different experience everywhere. So we wanted to control the whole experience, the customer experience, which matters the most for us.
Right.
And that can be only controlled when it's been driven by one brand, one team, which is running through the brand. That's what we feel.
Interesting. You spoke earlier about the fact that sometimes even retaining, staff can be, quite a challenge. So what are you guys doing differently there? And again, what advice to people who are listening in when it comes to staff retention, especially when it comes to your cooks and, even the waiting staff and the managers at restaurants?
A very good question, because, I was talking about this recently with a few young restaurateurs, that one very, very important thing for a restaurant brand is culture. Because whatever you say, the whole brand is driven by people. And it's a very interesting thing I have kind of coined together, that focus on keeping your team happy. They will make sure your customers are happy.
So true.
And if your customers are happy, it's going to translate into profits for you, and it's going to make your shareholders happy.
I love that.
It's ultimately, it starts all from your team. See, they are the ones who are facing the customer every day.
Correct.
I'm not. So if I don't instill that culture into them, that one bad experience of a customer, he will can make sure that the customer doesn't come back again. So it's a very, very tough industry that way. So and the people need to be motivated. The culture has to be strong.
Right.
So without that, you cannot survive.
Yeah. No, I love that. 100% agree. It is the people and it is the teamwork that's going to make the dream work for sure. Today, I mean, in the space of food, you've got a lot of like the aggregators, like the Swiggy, Zomatos, and all of that. Do you see a sizable amount of revenue coming from takeaway in that space as well?
So as far as we're concerned, we get about 26% of our revenues from delivery, which is through aggregators.
Right.
So it's been, I feel they've created a great market for us.
Yeah.
See, I could not deliver directly. Okay. It doesn't make sense for me logistically.
Yeah.
Because all orders come in a certain period every day.
Right.
And at that time, if you keep 10 people to, 10 riders, they will be standing idle all through the other hours.
Correct.
I will end up not making profit out of that whole, situation.
Correct.
So I think it makes a lot of sense to have aggregators on board. The only thing is there has to be a balance where everyone is making profits from like aggregators and restaurants both.
Right. 26% sizable number on that side. But do you sometimes feel that, as these guys are getting bigger, they're kind of also pushing restaurants a bit much in terms of taking margin away, etc.?
I think it's okay. I mean, I think as long as we do it together, if they talk to us, have a dialogue with us, and then we all give our feedback to them, and then they implement it.
Right.
As long as that happens, is fine.
Yeah.
So see, everyone has to cover the costs.
Of course.
Either they have to be profitable, we have to be profitable, not at the cost of each other.
No.
But then we have to find a balance somewhere.
I love that. And like you said, it's about reach. It's about opening up new markets. It's about letting people who can't come in, to you. I know there's a friend whose mother's not the best in terms of health, and she can't come to a restaurant, but she's always ordering on the platform so that she can have the Daryaganj experience at home as well. So that would have never happened back in the day, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about now stores, restaurants that you have in malls, vis-a-vis those which would be standalone outside, malls as well. How are the dynamics on that? Especially when malls have a lot of pressure, where they always have a lot of demand, especially like, let's just say like a DLF or something like that. How does that play out?
So the advantage we get in a mall is we get ready clientele. A good mall which has a great footfall gives you ready customers.
Right.
So you don't have to spend too much on marketing. But there's also a revenue share we have to pay to malls.
Right.
So there's not it's not a fixed rent. It's like fixed rent or revenue share, whichever is higher.
Got it. Whichever is higher.
Whichever is higher. And if you have a high street restaurant like this, you usually have a fixed rental.
Yeah.
So if it does well, then the upside is yours.
Correct.
In a mall, the upside is not yours because you are giving a percentage of revenue.
Fair.
But then there's an advantage on the footfall and the ready customer there.
Right.
Here you have to do your marketing and get your customer. But once it does well, in a long term, high street works out better for us in terms of profitability.
Right.
But we also want these malls to come and give us the balance.
I get it. Yeah, super. Totally makes sense. How about the marketing aspect? Because, traditionally restaurants was a lot about offline marketing, and today, it's online is playing such a big, role. Instagram is playing such a big role. Is it a hybrid approach that you guys are following, or you're like slightly more dependent on the online piece?
We as a company we spend the lowest amount of percentage of revenue for marketing.
Really?
And the reason why we can manage that, because I always tell everyone, the best form of marketing is word of mouth.
Yeah.
So if you can really focus on your customer, he's the one who will go and market it free for you.
Love it.
So we actually spend more time and more of our energy into that. And as a result of that, we don't need to spend too much on marketing. And if you see a lot of brands in the world who are great brands, have mostly get organic customers through word of mouth.
Yeah.
So we spend, I think, only about less than 2% of our revenue on marketing, and out of that 2%, 1.5 is only for delivery. For our dine-in business, only 0.5% of our revenue. We don't need to. We already have so much of demand, which we can't handle.
Right.
So what are we going to do with doing marketing? So
That's
I think
brilliant. And again, a good lesson, right, for everyone listening in, that you don't have to go crazy on the social media spend. Build a great brand, give a great experience, give people what they want to come in for, and that push will turn to pull. And I think a lot of business comes in from there itself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about food influencers? What about, like back in the day, like I'm talking about when we were growing up, there used to be a column that used to be written in a newspaper, for example, right? And that would drive traffic. Today it's about, again, the food influencers and all of that. What's happening in that space?
So I think that space is very important for us because, today's generation are very much into Instagram.
Right.
But I'm myself hooked onto Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
I don't get time to read print, newspapers or any kind of magazines anymore.
Sure.
Most of my information comes through my phone, through Instagram or through different apps here and there.
Right.
So if you have influencers who are strong on Instagram, that really helps you.
So
the
true.
ROI is very good. If a good influencer talks about your product, if the video by chance gets viral and gets a million views, you cannot. That's crazy.
The ROI is insane.
ROI is insane.
Yeah. Love that. So let's do a bit of a rapid fire. And first thing that comes to mind, one word, one sentence, whatever, and maybe about 15, 20 questions. So again, the first thing that comes to your mind, personal preference, butter chicken or dal makhani?
Dal makhani.
All right, that was instant. Dine-in or delivery, what's more profitable?
Dine-in.
Of course. One Indian city where Daryaganj must open?
It has to open in Bombay.
Love that. Right. What's harder, raising funds or retaining staff?
Retaining staff.
Yeah. One international restaurant or restaurant chain that you really admire?
Zuma.
Yeah, great one. A dish that you'll probably never put on the Daryaganj menu?
Any pork dish or any beef dish, for sure.
Yeah. Don't want to go down that path. Franchise own or self-operated?
Self-operated, anytime.
Yeah. And which would scale better?
Self-operated.
Awesome. If you weren't in the F&B space, what would you be doing?
Making movies, telling stories.
Right. And a great storyteller you are, so agreed. One entrepreneur that you'd love to have dinner with?
I mean, if you talk about someone who's not alive, I would have loved to have dinner with Steve Jobs, but obviously not possible.
Right.
If you talk about current, I would say Mukesh Ambani.
Your daily mantra as a business owner?
So my daily mantra is get up, dress up, show up. That's it. Go and do your effort every day.
Yeah.
Don't think about the result.
Love
just
that.
keep putting your best effort. Obviously, direction should be right. You can't just be doing things without any direction.
Right.
The direction of the result and make an effort every day.
Right.
You'll get the result.
Awesome. I love that. What's always in your fridge at home?
Some chocolates for sure. And my favorite dark chocolates.
Okay. To a foreigner who might be listening in, one Indian dish that you have to try?
So the dish has to be butter chicken.
Yeah, it has to be butter chicken, of course. We are in that again, so 100%. One business book that every entrepreneur should read?
0 to 1.
Okay.
I think that's what I am also, 0 to 1.
Yeah. Well, now 0 to 100 actually. But yeah, I love it.
Oh, I think 100 is 1 now, and then 1,000 would be 10, and 10,000 would be 100.
Okay. Yeah, here's to 10,000 crores and beyond then. One overrated trend in the restaurant industry?
Dubai chocolate.
Okay. One thing that you wish more customers would understand when it came to running a restaurant?
That the guys who are serving you are also humans. They might be having a bad day as well,
So true.
but they try not to show it to you. Sometimes some people do show it, so just be considerate,
I'd love that. Yeah, I think definitely. Consideration is something that lacks sometimes, and yeah, I love that. Your favorite city in the world, food-wise?
London.
If you had 24 hours to relaunch Daryaganj from scratch, is there anything that you would do differently?
Nothing at all.
Love that. Right. So your life journey in 3 words, what would that be?
What I call myself in 3 words, dreamer, storyteller, and doer. That's what I am. I dream. I dream about something.
Yeah.
Then I talk about it, and then I go and do it.
Brilliant. Super inspiring. And in one word, what does Daryaganj mean to you?
Part of my DNA.
Awesome. Love it. So super stuff. I'm sure that rapid fire would really hit home with many of you as well. Let's now bring it to a conclusion. What is it in terms of what's the future looking like? What's the next few months / few quarters looking like for you guys now?
Well, as I said, we have completed the 0 to 1 journey, reached that 100 crore. Now we have to look at how we take it to the next level.
Right.
And we will be we'll be looking at expansion, but controlled expansion. We want to expand to Bombay, we want to expand to Bangalore,
Right.
we want to get up. So we have already made a very strong business in Delhi NCR. We want to replicate the same playbook in Bangalore, in Mumbai, then slowly go to other top cities of the country. And side by side, we're looking at international expansion as well, where we want to get into the Gulf, the GCC. Then I really want to get into UK as well.
Nice.
And so slowly we will go towards all these directions.
Yeah.
And with controlled expansion, like I said. So I think we look at the next 5 years. I would say we would like to be at least a 1,000 crore valuation company. That's where we want to be.
Love it.
and maybe have a 300 crore turnover.
Fantastic. And you've done a really good job of, managing expectations, amongst partners, amongst investors. What's been the secret sauce? Like, what's really made that possible? Because a lot of times we see that, restaurants open up and there's bickering or there's conflict. But I mean, you've done fantastically well, both Raghav yourself, manage, like I said, partnerships, investors. What's been the secret sauce there?
Well, it's a very simple thing which I follow. You have to put yourself in everyone's shoes and think. So, sometimes if someone is saying something to me, which anyone else might react to think, oh, why is this person saying this to me? He can't say that to me. I stop and think, what would I have said if I was in his position?
Right.
I said, okay, maybe I would have had the same concern. So it's fine. So you have to just think that way. It works well. Because, if I put myself as an investor, I think that, okay, how would I react to a situation like this?
Right.
I feel, then I think, okay, maybe I would have reacted the same. So let's not take it too harsh.
I love that. So a lot of empathy, a lot of putting yourself in their shoes.
Yes,
and,
very important.
Right, not being very judgmental. I think important lesson if you're listening in as well.
And also I feel that, if you follow the right path, you do the right thing with full integrity, there will never be a problem, there will never be an issue.
So true. Communication again.
The only problem I feel a lot of times happens is perception.
Yeah.
Like you could have an investor who is not involved day to day, and whatever he perceives through maybe another channel or maybe some people,
Right.
it could be good or bad, both ways.
Yeah.
So that's very important. So I would say that any investor in a company should look at straight facts and not go by any perception.
Agreed.
And if you do that, you have a strong communication, there will never be an issue.
Fantastic. So again, thank you for everything today. I think there've been some really inspiring nuggets that you really shared, and I think a lot of people listening into this would get deeper insights into what really goes on, behind the scenes, and behind all the success, the madness, the blood, sweat, and tears, and everything else that you put in. So I think really a valuable lesson, and thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you. And I thank you for encouraging me to be 10x, and happy to be 10x in 5 years.
Always. So I had some goodies for you because you crushed the rapid fire.
Thank you
There's
so
something
much.
from Shantanu and Nikhil. So something that they created
thank you very much.
on your travels. That's for you.
That's
from Shantanu
so
Nikhil. It's
nice.
like a passport
I love
holder.
this. Thank you so much.
Another thing from Shantanu Nikhil is the Baroque roller pens when you're putting down your thoughts. So that's for you
so
as well.
nice.
And then, of course, while I know you don't play too much golf,
Wow.
but this is the
You
boardroom
got me a
golf
lot of gifts.
putter sets. It's a collapsible all-metal putter set. So if you're looking at a bit of a stress buster, that's
Great.
for you to use there as well.
So this is great. So this encourages me to start playing golf someday, which I want to.
Of course.
Thank you very much, and thanks for these amazing gifts.
And I guess thank you for your time, and it was always a pleasure. Always good to see you. And keep crushing it. And that 100 is happened, 300 is going to happen, and 1,000 and beyond as well. Looking forward, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a very large viewership, but in conjunction to that viewership, the subscription on the podcast, well, there's some work to be done as well. In fact, 98% of our viewers are not subscribers to our channel. So if I can make a request to each and every one of you, if you find value in what we deliver, if you like the content that we bring on the podcast on Let's Chat with GB, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and do share ahead as well. It will go a very, very long way in bringing a lot more guests, a lot more value content, and a lot more value to each and every one of you. Looking forward to having you as our subscribers. Thank you.